Hello, I am Mudi Wangam and this is N24 News Hour coming to you live from our studio in Bakau, the Gambia, adjacent to the Independence Stadium. Coming up, in an alleged Bakau murder case, anger erupted from youth as police arrest suspect. The Gambia, through the Ministry of Health, joins others to commemorate World AIDS Day at the OIC Conference Center. In sports, in the ongoing FIFA 2022 World Cup, as Ghana and Uruguay are set to clash, Luis Suarez told the press he would not apologize for his 2010 handball against Ghana. On the international front, the Chinese government has signaled an ease in COVID policy after mass protests. These plus many more interesting stories to feature in our today's bulletin. Stay tuned. Thank you for the time, and if you're just joining us, this is the N24 News Hour. We start the bulletin with the Alkamba Times gathered reports of the death of one Omar Sonko, a resident of Bakau who went missing last Friday. He was found dead in Salaji. Omar's killing grew an intense protest from the youth of Bakau who gathered yesterday, Thursday, at the Bakau police station, burning tires to express their anger and demand justice for the young man. The Gambia Police Force also confirmed the arrest and interrogation of one suspect with the murder of Omar. The suspect is currently helping the police in their investigation. The police confirmed that, following investigations into an incident of a reported missing man of Bakau, whose corpse was found in Salaji, the police have arrested and detained a suspected 46-year-old Banjolian man of Brusubi residence. Meanwhile, the police further urged the public to exercise calm and restraint from unlawful acts as they continue to probe into matters. Omar's family has been worried since Friday, November 25th, 2022, when he never returned home. The victim is a taxi driver who left home for his daily earnings on Friday morning, but his family never heard from him as all efforts proved fruitless until he was reportedly found dead in a bag in Salaji. Deforestation leads to harmful disasters and affects the climate as environmentalists continue to fight for forests and to green up. President Barrow was urged by the spokesperson of the charcoal dealers to support them as it is their source of living. Basiru Ka has more in this report.
The People Talk continues as spokespersons continue to highlight challenges among livelihoods. On Tuesday, November 29, 2022, women mobilizer Huleimatu Jallow states challenges women encounter as the season's farm harvest are insufficient. Mobilizer Jallow calls the government to chip in for support.
Because niaja tiyo fita bada mambete a nyofanan the same thing. Be abi gerte be gadi gawri kono mojati. Presently niya musolge jan ni man kembo jani ibuka fesoro ibela dimba ya balundi mena.
In response to the various spokespersons at the Chapine football field in Lower River Region, Honorable Demba Sabali, Minister of Agriculture, urges the people to stop the indiscriminate cutting down of trees in the bush as he believes it can hinder the growth of agriculture. Moreover, on the day's meeting, President Barrow promises the gathering that there will be more projects to be established now compared to the previous works done on social amenities and in the agricultural sector.
yala ma faala no ka fon del mu dokulal del manke diablal aduma projet ko faran dindi wolle pour nga mexo dindi wolle dogo soto ni sanjiru lo ko no dindi wuli keme dindi wuli tandulu me dogo dile walla gambe.
Finally, the president and his 2022 Meet the People tour in North Bank, Central River Region, Upper River Region, and Lower River Region. However, the president will enter West Coast Region on Wednesday, December 7th, and to the Cardiff Municipal Council and Banjul City Council to complete a constitutional mandate. Meet the People tour. Basiruka for N24 News.
World AIDS Day commemoration is geared towards raising awareness among citizens on the importance of gracing the occasion and efforts made by relevant stakeholders to minimize the rate of HIV and AIDS in the country. Our reporter Mariama Sisaho attended the commemoration held at the Sir Dawda Kairaba Conference Center, and she filed in this report.
AIDS has been in the Gambia for 36 years. Since its first case was diagnosed in 1986, and it's been 4 decades to the global response to HIV/AIDS. World AIDS Day is held every December 1st of every year to honor over 40 million lives lost to AIDS. This year's AIDS Day will mark the 34th World AIDS Day celebration in the theme Equalize. Director of National AIDS Secretariat, Mr. Usman Bojang, highlights the key points of this year's theme.
What we need to do to address the inequalities. All partners around the globe, including the UNAIDS, WHO, and other partners, have agreed that we must intensify efforts to increase availability, quality, and suitability of services for HIV treatment, testing, and prevention. The other point that the theme emphasizes is to do with reform of laws, policies, and practices to tackle one of the most formidable challenges we continue to face in the response to HIV and AIDS, and that is stigma and exclusion faced by people living with HIV and AIDS and by key and marginalized population, so that everyone is shown the respect and is welcome as a citizen.
Mrs. Sira Horijandao, UNAIDS Country Director, calls on everyone to come and join them tomorrow.
On World AIDS Day tomorrow, the Gambia will launch this enlightening report. We call all of you to join us in this historical launch during the partnership forum at the Sir Dawda Kairaba Conference Center.
At the event, Mr. Sirif Baji, the Assistant Program Manager, gave the statistics of HIV/AIDS in the Gambia.
The government of the Gambia remains committed to the creation of an enabling environment through concrete actions and policies that will facilitate strengthening of the gains made in the national response. According to the UN estimate of 2022, 26,000 to be precise, 26,229 people were living with HIV in the Gambia as at end December 2021. Out of that number, 14,000, that is 55%, 14,348 people know the HIV status. 60%, that is 8,695, we are receiving treatment. The country therefore needs to redouble its effort in improving access to testing, treatment, and address the stigma and discrimination, as it has been alluded by the previous speakers.
HIV/AIDS Day is celebrated globally every 1st of December, and the goal is to kick stigmatism in the Gambia by 2030. Reporting for N24, I am Mariama Sisa.
The African Ulamas have set aside the 6th of December to hold an Islamic conference at the conference center as they hold their press conference for the upcoming Islamic conference. This would be the first time of such an Islamic conference to happen in the Gambia. We hear from Fatou B. Kamara, who attended the presser regarding the preparations of the organizers for the upcoming conference.
Ulamas in Islam are the guardians, transmitters, and interpreters of religious knowledge, including the Quran and the laws of Islam. They are set to gather to talk about Islam and its teachings on the 6th of December, with the theme Promotion of Peace, Understanding, and Unity among Communities and Nations. They held a press briefing about their preparations, amongst others, for the December 6th conference. As they shed light on the upcoming conference meant for the 54 African countries, Buba Sanyang, the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Land, said,
"The conference, as a ministry responsible for religious affairs, feel that this conference, in order to hold it successfully, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Hence, the OIC Secretariat has already got structures in place that are preparing for the OIC Summit, and then also hosted some other conferences, similar conferences. So we feel we need to just use those structures to roll out and then implement this particular conference. As of now, the 54 African countries invited, we have received up to 38 countries confirming their presence. This might increase as we go, but then also out of these 38 countries, we have 81 participants. Among them, we have 9 ministers. The highest number of participants will come from Mauritania.
The recent misconception, non-tolerance, and non-accepting of others' view resulting to chaos among African countries. The ministry, on behalf of the government, collaborated with the Muslim World League to organize the gathering. As one of the aims is to clear doubts, misconceptions, and also enable people to be tolerant. P.S. Sanyang could not hide the fact that the event would portray Gambia.
Is something that Gambia's peacefulness and acceptance and religious tolerance has encouraged or motivated the Muslim World League to organize this important meeting in the Gambia. Even in the Gambia, we must have seen some intra-faith conflicts where within a religion, we have seen people with different opinions having issues. This conference is a setup to clear some of those things, how people live amicably in other countries, and what the religion actually preach, and then allow us to accept each other's view.
As the Gambia prepares to host this gathering, it is without a doubt that fears of attack would be on the minds of many, with Gambian security being trampled on the time and time. Binta Jamre Sidibe, the chairperson of the organizing committee, said they are working hard to hold the event successfully.
I've been working very hard for the past 2.5 months in preparation for this very important committee, because it's a pride for the Gambia, and it will even boost our tourism sector. This conference center, because we want to diversify our tourism sector, not only have the beach, the sun, and the sea, we also want to have international conference tourism, so that conferences can be held here, which will also add to our GDP. So in a sense, these are what we have been preparing. I've been meeting weekly under the leadership of the minister, like I said, and the permanent secretary, and our OIC CEO, the secretary, Mr. Yankuba Diba, has also been working with all of us to lead the process to ensure that the conference is successful, and that the Gambia is being showcased for what it is known for nationally and internationally.
Muslim World League is an international non-governmental organization with its quarters in Mecca, with members from all Islamic countries and sects. The Muslim World League ADUL represents true Islam and promotes friendship among people. This would be the first time Gambia has a conference that has all the 54 African countries. Reporting for N24 News, I am Fatou B. Kamara.
And away from that story, now time for some sports. Uruguay striker Luis Suarez has refused to apologize for his handball against Ghana in the 2010 World Cup. Suarez was sent off in the last minute for extra time in the quarterfinal for denying the Black Stars a goal with a deliberate handball on the goal line. Asamoah Gyan missed the subsequent penalty and Uruguay went through. The Ghana player missed the penalty, not me, said Suarez before the teams meet in a decisive Group G match on Friday in this year's World Cup finals. Ghana play Uruguay knowing a win would send them into the knockout stage, but a defeat would see the South American side progress if South Korea fail to beat Portugal. If Uruguay and South Korea both win, goal difference and possibly goals scored would decide their fate, with the Asian side holding a 1-goal advantage. It is the first time the countries have met since the game 12 years ago, and former Liverpool striker Suarez was unrepentant despite being told by a Ghanaian journalist that some in the African country view him as the devil himself. I quote, "I don't apologize for it," he said. "I apologize if I injured a player, but I took a red card for the handball. It wasn't my fault because I didn't miss the penalty." End of quote. That's all for sports, but from sports, we now look at the latest happenings of the internationals. Right after this, stay tuned. China has signaled a shift in its COVID stance as it moves to ease some virus restrictions despite high daily case numbers. Dozens of districts in Shanghai and Guangzhou, cities that have seen rising cases, were released from lockdown measures on Thursday. The country's vice premier also announced that the country was facing a new situation. It comes as China is seeing mass protests against its zero-COVID policy. The unrest was triggered by a fire in a high-rise block in the western Xinjiang region that killed 10 people last week. Many Chinese believe long-running COVID restrictions in the city contributed to the deaths, although the authorities deny this. It led to days of widespread protests across various cities, which have since ebbed amid a heavy police presence. Restrictions in major cities like Guangzhou are abruptly lifted on Wednesday, hours after the city saw violent protests that resulted in clashes between police and protesters. And from that, we say goodbye as it is the end of our today's bulletin. Stay tuned to your favorite N24 RTV.